Hey, good morning. Hi, you guys. So, I'm gonna just chat for a minute about awakening, and it seems so simple now, um, but what happens is that I see, in a way, the humor in life. I was thinking, there's all this talk about what's happening in the world around us, at this time, and some folks are very, very caught up in what they think is happening. And they've, I believe, lost perspective of the adventure, and have assumed that something is wrong, and and we must be vigilant. We must be on the guard. Something is wrong, and something is wrong. Who's to say? So, and, what I see is that, you know, and this very much rings true for the addict and the alcoholic, but for everybody, is that we're generally so self-centered that we want things to be our way. And I get a kick out of the mask thing, because it's whatever. I mean, as children, we wanted to wear them. Look, I, I wear this little bandana everywhere I go, and it's an adventure. I get to walk in the bank like this. If you could just, just have a look at the fun of it. It is a bit of fun, and but because we're so we live in such fear sometimes, many of us, and not seeing, the possibilities of the adventure in the moment, that people have to tell us. I mean, it's kind of, do you remember when they started telling us we should wear seatbelts? I'm not wearing a seatbelt. I had to do that but it made sense that from a perspective that, statistically, having seatbelts on seems to save lives. And so, uh, now we pretty much all wear them. Kids get in, put them on, and, and it's just a change, and now, you know, what's happening in the world is what's happening in the world. It's just what is, but we want to speculate, and you know, and so all of that takes us out of the moment and out of the adventure, and often into fear. We're like, oh my God, what are they doing to us? so, wake up. It's okay. Just be here now. If you're convinced that there's dark forces in the world, then be the light forces in the world. And light or love isn't from againstness. It's from being present here now. Be here now. Our natural state. Our natural state is in this moment. Hmm. And wanting separates us. And the alcoholic and the addict is the king of wanting things his or her way. Um, we're so much like the child stamping our feet. So, what is awakening? Maybe it's just becoming a mature human being. Maybe it's just, we recognize that we're part of in a bigger world, that we're part of something else, that we're not separate, fighting for our way. that we're here now in one with this. Maybe awakening is that, hey? How can that be wrong? How can that be bad? How can that be anything but beautiful? So the mind, this all, that begins with becoming aware of the mind. So we know that we're separate from the mind because we say, my mind. When you say my mind, you know there's a my and a mind. You know, okay, so I'm not my mind. Like my hand. I'm not my hand. I know I'm not my hand. If I cut my hand off, I'm still me. They cut both of them off, I'm still me. If my mind were no longer here, I may not be able to perceive myself in the same way, but I'd still be here. So recognize that the mind has kind of, been undisciplined and never became aware, has not become aware of the oneness. There's nothing out of place. Nothing is missing. Nothing is wrong. The mind loves to live in right and wrong, good and bad. And so when we live there, we struggle. And with the struggle comes to a point where, it's difficult. And so we temper the struggle by having a drink, or sometimes obsessively watching TV, or going to the casino. Watch when you're in the casino. Just watch. Why are you there? To change what we're feeling, and to get that high, to get that, the chemicals that the body creates flowing. We go to the casino, and so many things we do here to take us out of the moment, because the moment we feel is uncomfortable, and we feel the moment's uncomfortable because we are full of wants and desires, ideas of what's right and wrong. So let go of that, surrender. Step one in the recovery process tells us that we don't know, that we can't manage our own life. Isn't that amazing? What if that's true? What if that's true? That all the tools that we learn to manage our life don't actually help us to become whole inside. We work with the tools, and we pay our bills, and we show up, and we do our job, we be a good dad or a good mom, and all of those things. But we're still something missing. We're still in complaint. If any of you have a mom who is always complaining, or a wife that's always complaining, or a husband or a father that's always complaining, or a sister that's always complaining, or maybe you're always complaining, then you're not here. You're missing the show. You're in the lobby. Come on in. Get on the stage of life. It's beautiful. And then you're not the director. You're not the director. I'm not the director. I get to play in the scene, to be part of, till I'm no longer running my life. It's beautiful. It took me a long time to realize that I couldn't. It wasn't that I'm not smart. It wasn't that, I'm not creative. It was that I was running it from a place of fear. I was running it from a place of lack, and wanting, and not good enough. So I couldn't run it from that context. And I couldn't just change my context. I could put a great big sign that life is love. I could, do affirmations and wall hangings and all kinds of things to remind me. But in my inner core, I still had this nagging idea that something was missing. And then I realized that I was missing, in the sense of I had separated myself from the moment. I was always judging, right? always making meaning and assessing. Is this good? Is that bad? It's going to rain. Well, it hasn't rained in days, so that must not be good. Just always judging. So let go. Let go, let go. Surrender into this moment. Breathe into this moment. Enjoy the adventure of life. My gosh. Wake up with anticipation in the morning, and it can be there. We can't make it happen, but it can be there. Because it is there. It is there. It is there. I find that these days I'm doing way less, which is quite beautiful. And my mind says, yes, yes, but you have to do this. You have to. I'm like, no, I don't think I do. And the sense of completeness is there in each moment. It's like, oh, this is good. This is good. I do have to kind of look and say, oh, gee, I guess I better mow the lawn. Because in a way, I'm not wanting to do anything, so I just go with what comes in each moment. And it's pretty sweet. All right, that was it. I wrote a little piece before it came out. And so if you read the little content in the beginning of this, it seemed to flow really nicely. What is that? You are that. I am that. We are all that. We're not separate from that. How could we look at the tree and say, well, the tree is one with the universe. The tree is not separate from the universe. We don't see the tree as separate. But we think we are. How is that? That if the tree is not separate, is the puppy separate? Is the baby separate? We know for sure the baby is, we can just feel the presence of divinity in the little tiny baby. Does it leave as we get older? No, it just gets covered up. Yeah. It just gets covered up. Feel the stillness. Wow. Okay, I don't know why. A couple of quick things. We're going to next week, no, on the 6th, I think, of October, we're going to begin to read this book. It's going to be separate from what we do in the morning, but we're going to read this book, the Bhagavad Gita. It's beautiful. And I'm not an expert on any of this. I've just had this experience, and I'm living it. I'm not an expert on it. And hi, Kathy Lynn. Hi, my love. But so we're going to dig into this, and I've been through it many, many times, but I'm not an expert in it. And we'll see what it says. And one of my teachers, Dr. David Hawkins. Oh, good. Kathy Lynn says she bought it at Chapters for $21. Great. One of my teachers, Dr. David Hawkins, who was an amazing, amazing awakened character, just a beautiful, fun man. And you can watch his videos. He's very analytical, but just really, read his stuff. He's great. So he developed a scale of vibration, and the highest on the scale was like Christ consciousness. It's a beautiful, and so you can actually use kinesiology or muscle testing to measure the truth in things in each moment, and the so Christ consciousness is at the highest, and in the lower realms would be guilt and shame and fear, and desire, and all those things that take us out of, and anger, in the lower realms. And so as we move up into, acceptance and courage and love and unconditional love, and then through the realms into Christ consciousness, and which is, obviously a very, very high vibration. And in the Christ consciousness, absolutely no separation from this moment. And the Bhagavad Gita vibrates, according to David Hawkins, at over 900. So we're going to read this amazing book. Hey, buddy. We're going to read this amazing book that vibrates at over 900. So, it's not a teaching. I don't see it as a teaching. I see it as that we're going to go into this vibration together. And we're not learning a new way to be, if you will, from a doctrine. It's a story. It's a poem, actually. And I'll tell you a little bit about that. We'll and it's exciting because Krishna, which is a character in Hindu teaching, is speaking to who's he talking to? Oh my gosh, it's gone right out of my mind. Arjuna. He's talking to Arjuna, and Arjuna was a warrior. So it's a metaphor. It's a story. It's a beautiful story, and so we're going to read it together. That's it. Oh yeah, I'm going to read this now. Here we go. This September 25th. Thought for the day. Okay, he says, let us consider the term spiritual experience. See, in the 12 step, it says, having had a spiritual experience as the result of these steps. So that's the 12 steps is all about creating a spiritual experience, a oneness with God. Let us consider the term spiritual experience as given in Appendix 2 of the Big Book, Alcoholics Anonymous. A spiritual experience is something that brings about a personality change by surrendering our lives to God, to the moment, to infinite intelligence. As we understand Him or as we don't, we are changed. The nature of this change is evident in the recovered alcoholics. This personality change is not necessarily in the nature of a sudden or spectacular upheaval. We do not need to acquire an immediate and overwhelming God consciousness. No, some of us it comes slowly. For me, it certainly did. It came very slowly. It was like, oh my gosh. And yeah. We do not need to acquire an immediate, overwhelming God consciousness, followed at once by a vast change in feeling and outlook, it says. It said this personality change is not necessarily in the nature of a sudden and spectacular upheaval. We do not need to acquire an immediate and overwhelming God consciousness, followed at once by a vast change in feeling and outlook. In most cases, the change is gradual. Yes. Do I see a gradual and continuing change in myself? Yes, it's beautiful. Hi, Emily. Hi, honey. Hi. You got to go get that book, the Bhagavad Gita. We were talking about it yesterday. So that's beautiful. So we're reading from the 24-hour day book right now and just finishing up. Beautiful. So the God consciousness, yes, as we stay in the process, in the steps, in step 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for the knowledge of His will and the power to carry that out. It's a beautiful step, and that brings us, to the next step, which is where we work with others and carry this message. It's not it's not optional, really. It's the way to awakening, and we see ourselves and others as we work with them day in and day out. Meditation for the day. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. For rest from the cares of life, you can turn to God each day in prayer and communion. Real relaxation and serenity come from a deep sense of the fundamental goodness of the universe. Nothing missing, baby. It's all here, right? Yes, I love the fundamental goodness of the universe. We are in it. This is it. We are it. We're not separate. God's everlasting arms are underneath all. and will support us. Commune with God, not so much for petitions to be granted as for the rest that comes from relying on His will and His purpose for our life. Be sure of God's strength. Be sure of God's strength available to you. Be conscious of His support. And wait quietly until that true rest from God fills your being. Beautiful, eh? Got the best coffee. Prayer for the day. I pray that I may be conscious of God's support today. I pray that I may be conscious of God's support today. I pray that I may rest safe and sure therein. So remember, where is God not? Right? It's either everything or He's nothing. Not a separate being. We are that. Beautiful. Okay. Yeah, thank you. Okay, love you guys. A couple of quick things. Remember, we're going to start the Bhagavad Gita soon. And Monday night, we have a meditation here, and we all get to contribute and to chat and it's here at the house. Hi, Caesar. Nice to see you, brother. So Monday evenings at 7:30. We've got room for about 10. And, we're conscious of what's going on. If you want, you can wear a mask. And remember, don't take it all too seriously. It's all an adventure. We're in an adventure, right? Don't take it too seriously. Enjoy it. Love it. Love lifts us up. Okay? Be the love. Okay, guys, love you. Bye.